Hey, everybody, welcome to the latest edition of the Kolpack and Izzo podcast, brought to you by Gate City Bank, along with Jeff Kolpack, Dom Izzo with you as we roll through February, nearing the end of the college basketball season. And Kolpack wrote a column yesterday that made me chuckle because it's something I've been chiding on for a couple of years.
I made you laugh?
You did, on the Summit League. It's scheduling.
You're laughing at because it was not good, or why are you laughing?
I'm laughing at the Summit League and its inability to get games on a normal date. Where we're just scrambling to find what day is which, as the Bison women will play tonight as we record this on a Thursday, the men playing tomorrow night on a Friday, and then...
Yeah, thanks a lot, by the way. The only Friday game on Valentine's Day, which, those of us with wives and significant others... If they don't like basketball,
Ruby's not going to the shack with you.
Makes it a little harder to
Friday.
Find some stuff to do.
The point of the column, and I encourage everyone to read it at Inforum.com, is that exactly that is that the league is such a scattered mess, Kolpack, with its scheduling in reference to basketball. I mean, you got to pick and choose a week, and you could have a team playing on a Wednesday, a Thursday, Friday, Saturday, or Sunday.
On the flip side, and I heard this. Somebody responding to my Twitter post on the column that, well, if you look at other leagues in the country, a lot of teams do play on every day of the week. It's just the way it is. I will counter, however, that this is not the Big Ten.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
This is not the SEC or the Big 12.
Or the ACC. You know why they do that? TV. Summit League ain't got that. Nope. Is right. That's why they do that. When people point that out, that, well, yeah, the ACC, they play every single day. Well, you know why? Because they need to fill TV time. The Summit League is not doing that. And that argument doesn't hold any weight to me. Anyway, this is completely because the league is in balance right now. And it's going to continue to be, at least we think, until St. Thomas Kolpack is added into the league in 2021. If they're added in the league. There's still
I think they will.
It looks like it's more and more that it's advancing in that direction.
I think they will, and let's talk about that in a second, but I want to get back to this Summit League thing and games everywhere. We in the mid-major world, Dom, live in a world of it's very regimented.
Yeah,
okay?
Scheduled. Regiment is right.
Football games at the Fargo Dome are Saturday afternoon at 2. We know that. Yep. We know that right now as we sit here, and the times aren't even announced next year yet. But they're going to be at 2, 2:30, or in that neighborhood.
Or homecoming at 1.
Exactly.
Right.
We know that's our mid-major. That's how we roll here in mid-major land. in the big guys, maybe not so much, and it's because it's a bigger deal, and there's more people, and it's a bigger population base, and it's just a different genre altogether in terms of sports. Not in the mid-major world. It's not how it goes here. And so when you schedule games, is it so bad to have a men's and women's doubleheader?
No, I don't think so. I think, especially for a sport and an arena that's looking to maximize its crowd, and I'm speaking on the north side of Fargo right now, and I can even speak in Grand Forks as well. If you want to do that, get more people out, play them on the same day.
Here's the other thing. If I'm a season ticket holder for both the men and women, although I would argue I think you should have the same ticket, but I'm not the ticket guy. But if you were to have, the way it's at now, Dom, you have to go to 4 games either a week.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Because let's say if the women are home Wednesday, Friday, and the men are home Thursday, Saturday.
That's 4 games a week. That's not happening.
No one's doing that. No, I don't care how.
And if you do the mirror scheduling where the men are home and the women are away, then that's still 2 dates every week.
Yes,
every dang week you've got to go to 2 games if you're a season ticket holder for both the men and women. That isn't happening either.
Ain't nobody doing that either. Is right. Nope.
So the sensible thing is narrow it down, narrow the gap. Make it not a harder ticket, but make it more special, I guess what I'm saying.
An easier ticket, an easier available to go.
2 days every 2 weeks.
Yes.
Can you do that?
I think that's more doable than what you're asking of trying to do 4 or even 2 in a week.
People can't do that. I wouldn't even want to go to 4 games.
No way.
It's winter here.
Right. Going out like last night, who would want to? No one wanted to go outside last night.
But if that was one game or one of the 2 dates every other week, yeah, I'd think about it for sure.
Up. Yep. Just a comparison, Kolpack, the Missouri Valley for basketball, they play their games when we get to league play, and that's what we're talking about. They play on Wednesdays and they play on Saturdays, occasionally Sunday as well. That's it. They don't play any other dates. So they have streamlined their schedule.
They don't do doubleheaders, though.
Correct. They do not do that. But that's at least, and they have a little bit more of a TV schedule than obviously the Summit League does, national TV schedule, the Missouri Valley. But to just throw it out for another quote-unquote mid-major league, that's what the Missouri Valley.
So ideally, I'd like to see a Thursday, Saturday, men's and women's doubleheader, same dang ticket. All right?
What do you think the possibility of that
Probably
ever
zero.
Yeah.
Again, I'm not a ticket guy.
I think the Horizon, by the way.
It used to be that way, but that was Division II.
The Horizon plays on Fridays, but they have a national TV deal with ESPN that they get Friday night is their time slot on ESPN2 and ESPNU. And until that happens, if the ESPN comes knocking at Tom Duple's door saying, hey, we want you to play Monday nights or whatever, then this is the best option. I don't think that's ever going to happen. You know what I mean?
Probably not, but
No.
but once the Summit gets to a 10-team league, and let's morph into that a little bit here, that I do think St. Thomas will be added, and they've already been accepted on the sort of like it's a soft condition, right? I don't know what the word is.
It's a soft commitment, right?
On the hope that they get the waiver from 12 years, which is the Division III to Division I reclassification right now. The way it is written is 12 years for the team to do it. Now, nobody's ever done that. Nobody's ever made the D3 to D1 move. And so my calls and the people I have called who have extensive experience with NCAA are pretty certain and do believe that it'll be 4 years like any other Division II to Division I.
Okay.
They do believe it'll be 4 years.
They're also
with the condition, with some legislation perhaps put in that if anybody else is thinking about
This
it.
ain't going to happen again?
Well, I mean.
In terms of just doing it.
Maybe it'll be 6 years or 5.
Okay.
Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah.
There might be some more added into the language of it. But because St. Thomas has already done this, you just can't add it in right now, I don't think. And really, it's all, is the institution, is it ready? Is it Division I? Does it look like a Division I school?
I think it does.
I mean, Concordia College across the river here is not going Division I.
No. But the aesthetics of St. Thomas, what I have seen, and on the inside, they have the look of a Division I school. And I've talked to numerous MIAC coaches that agree with that. Over the last 5 years, they have morphed into
Meaning
Division
they
I
have
school.
the money.
Yes.
Do they have the
Yes.
money? You cannot do this without the money.
Nope. And they certainly have the alums who have the money that can make this happen.
No, there's gonna be some significant upgrades in their athletic department.
Basketball arena alone. I've heard that.
Well, I'm talking about personnel first of all.
That too. Yep.
First of all, look at the front office. Their NDSU has 15 people who have some sort of athletic director tag to their name, assistant, associate, whatever. Some AD term
Correct.
to it. St. Thomas has 6.
So they're gonna have more.
They
than
have
double.
one sports information director for everything.
Right. And that ain't going to happen at Division I.
Jim Sella is not going to run a Division I program by himself.
No. And North Dakota State has 4. We count Schwartzy because I know he listens.
And even that tends, they're spread a little bit for sure.
I mean, Ryan Peralt, I would say probably during football could certainly, we wouldn't mind having some help. I would imagine throughout that, no doubt. Now, you already had some travel partners in your column here as well.
I do. What do you think of them?
I think,
first of all, lay them out.
So you have NDSU and UND, which
Easy.
is a slam dunk, and South Dakota State,
Easy.
which is a slam dunk. Oral Roberts and Denver, I like a lot because they're both direct flights. I think you can fly out of Tulsa. The only one I would maybe object on that would put Denver and Kansas City together because you could fly out of there, but no one is with Oral Roberts, or you put Omaha and Tulsa maybe together because you maybe had to fly there. Western Illinois is the toughie, and you put St. Thomas there, which is
easternmost
which
schools.
is I don't think that's Macomb is impossible.
But Kansas City and Omaha are much more natural. You're going to fly to those schools anyway.
Yep.
But in Omaha, Kansas City, that's a bus trip. And not only that, remember the old NBA, the Kansas City Omaha Kings,
yep.
Nate Archibald?
That could work.
It's a natural progression there of town.
Just to lay it out again.
Cities.
NDSU, UND, SDSU, USD, Omaha and Kansas City, Oral Roberts, Denver, St. Thomas, Western Illinois. Has Tom Duple called you and congratulated you for doing this and getting all the work
Not yet. I know he's
back
reading.
here?
Well, I gave him the idea on St. Thomas. I'm taking credit for that.
This makes a ton of sense to me, and I think hopefully if and when that happens, then Kolpack, we can talk about scheduling and getting off Wednesdays and Sundays, because I don't think anybody – there was a game last night in the league. I don't know how many people were paying attention. Is USD won again last night? It's played on a Wednesday. It's stuck in the middle of Nowheresville.
USD, Western Illinois,
right? I mean, it's just it's a tough deal, and I'm anxious that this will go through. The only thing I wonder about, and this is every time the league has said, hey, we finally got to an even number, somebody has left. You know what I mean? UND came in, then IUPUI decided to go. Then, hey, we got Kansas City, and then Fort Wayne is leaving. Now,
all right, let's troubleshoot that.
St. Thomas is here.
Who would be the one candidate to leave?
Well, Omaha is getting romanced, remember, by the Horizon a couple years ago. That would be or Denver. But Denver's terrible now.
And where do you go?
Fort Wayne's terrible now.
Where does Denver go? The WAC?
Right, but they already did that, remember?
Right.
And that didn't work.
The WAC is Kansas City doesn't like the WAC coming back.
No. There are only 2 WAC rejects that are now back in the Summit League. Oral Roberts is a reject of the Southland and now back in the Summit. That would be it, Kolpack, I would think maybe Omaha. Maybe.
I think the Summit success in the RPI in the last 7, 8 years, 9 years
I'm with you.
has really been attractive, really, for the Denvers and KCs of the world. They look at that and go, okay, maybe it's a better league than what we originally thought.
Yep.
It's not the vagabond mid-con anymore.
It's so different. Yeah, it's so different when the Bison got into this league.
All right, let's name the original mid-con right after. Don't look at
when NDSU first got in.
Yes.
Oh boy,
this would be tough. Okay, Centenary.
Yep. Southern Utah.
Yep.
IUPUI, Fort Wayne, Oral Roberts,
Oakland,
Oakland, South Dakota State, the Bison. Oh goodness,
is that it?
There was 10. I think we're forgetting somebody in here. We said Fort Wayne, right?
Yep.
IUPUI, Oakland, Oral Roberts. I don't know if we said them. Oral Roberts. Southern Utah. Centenary. God, I thought there was another outstate school. I think that might be all of them.
I think that's it.
I think we have to look it all. But that was all over. And there was 3 time zones: Eastern, Central, and Mountain Time. That's what the Big Sky went through when they added UND into the league, and they didn't want to do that.
And now it's just 2 with just 1 team.
Right, just with Denver.
In Denver.
And that's a direct flight. I mean, you can fly anywhere.
Denver, it's almost as central of a mountain time zone you
Correct.
can get.
That's why they got them. That's why they wanted them. So I hope that the league's case that this is how it is going forward. I think you're right. I don't think there's going to be, we say this, knock on wood, any movement between then and now. On the actual...
Wait, we're not done with this, okay?
Okay.
Augustana, what do you do?
Well, I think they got the cart before the horse here, from everything it sounds like, that they want to do it, and now I don't know where they're at, Kolpack. I'll be honest, I haven't dug a lot of deep in.
I don't think
anybody
outside of the school knows where they're at.
What do you think?
I think they got usurped by St. Thomas.
Yes, they did. St. Thomas stole
Beat
their
them
thunder.
to the punch.
St. Thomas stole their thunder, is right.
They slept on it, and they slept on it, and they woke up, and all of a sudden here's St. Thomas.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Grabs their ticket.
So now what? What do they do now?
I think they stay.
Everybody in the Northern Sun thinks they're gone. From people I've talked to in that league, they think it's just a matter of when, not
if. Is it
if.
more important for the Summit to add a team or to keep it at an even number for basketball scheduling purposes, and actually all the other sports too?
You're right.
Soccer,
it's not just basketball. It ain't just basketball. Is right.
Soccer loves the pairings too.
And it's not just in volleyball. Volleyball does too.
Perfect.
I think it's. I think
you're
they're
at
going to
10.
get in.
You do it. Okay, you're at 10.
If Augie gets in, then who do you add then? Because you're right back in the same boat.
I think you need to say this. Okay, well, you're at 10 and you're a pretty solid 10. Okay?
Yep.
I say
with the addition of St. Thomas, yes.
life's tough. We'll take you, but we need somebody else.
Is it on Augie to bring somebody else in?
Well, yeah, I think it is.
Augie, you got to do some homework then. Find another school to come in with you into the league.
Well, think about it. I mean, the basketball has been such an issue.
Yep.
The scheduling is such a headache. So you're this league, and you're on pretty solid ground right now. I think you have the cards.
Oof. No doubt. I'm really curious to see what happens here. Augustana is. You're right.
Oral Roberts isn't. They already tried leaving,
and they came
Southland.
back.
They came back.
Kansas City left.
They're not going anywhere.
Nope. Kansas City left, and they came back.
The only possibility is if Denver found something somewhere. I don't even know where it would be.
I don't know what it would be for Denver.
Mountain West
or Omaha. Is somebody want Omaha with them playing hockey? And
has it worked out for Creighton going to the Big East?
Depends on who you ask on that.
It's quite the chunk
it's a lot of money.
Geographical chunk to chew there.
But I think what they sacrifice in that, they certainly make up for in television money because they're making a lot more than they ever did in the Missouri Valley.
I assume they fly private.
Yes. Competitive-wise, Villanova is still the king of the king in the Big East in men's basketball right now, but I'd be interested to think on that. That I think that they would say, yeah, we'd still make that move. Wichita State leaving and going to the American, I think they would probably say, yep, we would do that over again. Just exactly why. Exposure and better chance to make the NCAA basketball tournament. That's why.
I'm just not feeling the Augie thing. I'm not feeling it.
Yeah.
I don't hear any strong aspirations down there since that announcement. That was in December 2018, Dom. It's 2020.
Wow.
We haven't heard anything.
Yeah, that's a long time.
It just feels like it's dead in the water.
You're right. It does. And it feels like St. Thomas has lapped them on moving forward. So something we'll keep an eye on as we continue to move forward here is the St. Thomas will be officially added if they get everything checked off for the fall of 2021. They would join the Summit League. So it's still a ways away. On the actual floor, Bison men are going for 6 straight tomorrow night with Fort Wayne in town. I mentioned South Dakota's win, so now USD, the Jacks, and the Bison all have 9 wins, Kolpack, in the Summit League as we come down the stretch. The Bison have 5 remaining, 3 at home, 2 on the road. They still got to go to Vermilion before the end of the season and a game up at UND as well.
Have we seen some separation?
I think so. There's
a
clear delineation between.
There's a clear 3 right now.
Yep, I agree. And now the battle is on for the top 2 in my mind because we talked about if you're first or second, you play Saturday. If you win, you get a day off before you have to come back and play again on Monday, and that's proven most of the time to be very helpful at the Summit League tournament.
Well, it could come down to the Bison and Jacks on February 27th.
Or
could
come down to the Bison and the Coyotes.
Bison still have to go to UND.
Right.
They still have to go to South Dakota. Omaha comes here.
They found something here again, though. I think whatever their combination on the floor, I know you wrote about Jared Samuelson getting back and being healthy. But that game on Saturday, we talked about it on Hot Mic on Monday, where Oral Roberts, they couldn't be stopped early on. Bison found something with their lineup, and then, boy, it changed on a dime there at the end of the first half, a 20-1 run in the first half.
You know what I like out of a lineup combination? I've seen it maybe 2 or 3 times, is when they go small. I'm talking about the Bison.
Yeah.
Small meeting 5 guards.
Yep.
Now, they're not all 6'2", but, okay, you got – and I'm trying to remember who the 5 were.
Was it Greasel was the 5? Is that right?
Okay, Shahid, 5'11", Edie, 6'5", Greasel, 6'6", Samuelson, 6'3", and I think it was Hunter, 6'3", or Ward, 6'6". Ward's more of a forward anyway.
Yeah.
But I think he was on the bench for part of that run, too.
It might have been right that Cam Hunter might have been out there, too. But that was a tough group that Oral Roberts really had no answer for at the end of that first half, and they got back into the game like Oral Roberts does, but the Bison ended up winning that game. I guarantee, by the way, no matter however the game goes tomorrow night, you will get more out of John Kaufman than you did out of Paul Mills after the game. Kaufman is a good dude. He will talk no matter how the game goes tomorrow night.
Yeah, and he's always been that way.
Yes.
And one of those guys who's been a good character. It's sad to see him go.
It's Fort Wayne's farewell to Fargo here.
Last game.
And they've had some, I mean, you think when Tony Jasic was the head coach, they were humming then. They were really good, had some really good players, and they've never made the NCAA tournament.
Summit had great coaches as talkers. 10, 15. Just think about this lineup, okay? You had
Ron Hunter
would talk your ear off.
IUPI.
Saul Phillips would talk your ear off.
Campy at Oakland.
Oakland loved it here. Loved being the villain.
Scott Nagy was okay. He was all right at South Dakota State.
Yeah.
He was okay.
Yeah. Intense, but always.
Kaufman's good at Fort Wayne.
I was trying to think now.
Oh, you had Craig Smith at South Dakota.
There, talk your ear off.
He was pretty good. Oh, Scott Sutton and Oral Roberts.
Night and day with Paul Mills.
Right?
Just absolutely Scott Sutton would
answer. He got tossed from a game and still talk.
Scott Sutton would answer your phone on a bus between here and Centenary.
Yes.
And be happy to talk to you.
Yep. So it's a little different between that and now.
Why?
I don't
get
know.
it.
I can't speak on Mills. I don't know.
You need all the pub you can
exposure you can get.
I'm not saying suck my toes. I'm not saying that at all. I'm not saying you should cater to my every need.
No.
I'm just saying be available.
Yeah. Yep.
And give basic information.
Beyond, what was it?
Just be basic.
22 words? Is that what you had?
No.
22 seconds.
22 seconds, 3 questions, 3 answers of 3 words or less. I'll never forget it.
So not even 10 words combined?
I'll go back to my
brief interview. That is brief. And you've had some brief interviews in your career. That one might be the record.
Well, the Denver coach, Billups, last year he was kind of like that.
You
know,
his team has not had a lot of wins either. So when that's happened,
and I understand going to a locker room when you just haven't won the game.
Yep.
I'm not like I ask very general stuff like, "Hey, what happened in your mind? What was the key?" Just something basic, right? I'm not gonna. I should ask Paul Mills why he blew the game with a technical.
Correct. Wait a minute, Bobby Knight. What did he tell you? What did you get out of Bobby Knight?
Okay, it was Texas Tech, 2006.
I was in the room, but I don't remember now.
And his star was Jarius Jackson. Was that his?
Yeah, I think so. That
Jarius
sounds right.
Jackson. And so the second half, he was like 1 of 10. And he almost blew the game for him, but he was a key factor. And I go, "Hey, Coach, Jarius Jackson was 1 of 10 in the set." I got about that far into the question. He goes, "Jackson didn't play well. Next question." Okay, thank you. Next, General. In that same press conference, there was a writer from SI who was doing a story on him and Krzyzewski, on Knight and Krzyzewski.
Yeah.
And the only place this writer could get access to Knight was at post-game press conferences. So he's in there after the Bison game. First of all, we're going, what in the heck is this Sports Illustrated
SI guy
doing?
here at NDSU, Texas Tech, yeah.
And first of all, Knight, every 7th word is an F word. And so this guy gets up right away and asks questions about him and Krzyzewski. And after like the 3rd question, Knight goes, "Haven't I effing given you effing enough?"
Apparently not. Right? Evidently not.
He's probably at the next game.
Yep. No doubt. That's how you got to do it. Hey, before we wrap, ESPN's college football put out the top 12 intriguing games for 2020. And I always click on that. I like seeing what they're talking about.
You like intriguing?
I do that.
You're all about intriguing.
And Kolpack, like the second game on, I see Matt Entz's photo with Trey Lance. I'm like, whoa, North Dakota State, Oregon is on there as listed as one of their top 12 games. What did you make of that when you saw that?
Well, it's ESPN's love affair with NDSU first, and its knowledge of NDSU.
Yep.
Has a great knowledge of the program. 37-game winning streak, a top 5 team in FBS.
Rose Bowl
early
champs.
Season.
Yep.
So I'm not surprised by that. I think because it's different. TV, in the media, we love different. Anything different, we just go, "Oh, that's good. That's a good story angle." We haven't done this before, so not surprised.
The level of intrigue, I posted this on my Twitter account, and I wanted to ask you, since you are the foremost authority on Bison football, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. I asked most anticipated Bison game for fans, Kolpack, and I put on there K-State, Iowa, this Oregon game coming up or the first FCS championship. That's all. I only had room for 4. I understand that you could probably go, 15 different games.
Sorry, are you saying what we thought of before each of our
correct
of those games?
Going into that particular game, and I put the first FCS championship game down in Frisco on there. Are you of the mindset of those 4? Is there another? Because I had a couple people call into the show.
I'll say the first Gopher game.
The first Gopher game was the one they had. 2006 at the Metrodome.
Yep, because that was the benchmark. Like all those years in Division II, the thought of ever playing the Gophers was so remote that it wasn't even on the radar.
Yeah.
Like, there's no way it'd be 70-0. I don't care how bad the Gophers were. We didn't understand the disparity between FBS and FCS. We didn't know, and so that was the first benchmark of really. It was certainly less than what we thought it was. It was 1 point.
It was a 1-point game in 2006. For me, it was the Kansas State game for everything that surrounded it. For the Bison being 2-time champs, they're dedicating Bill Snyder, the stadium, to him that night. It's 9,000 degrees. How the game played out, and to your point, how we started this conversation, that's how ESPN became introduced to North Dakota State. That win, they called Gene Taylor not that long after and say, we're going to bring College Game Day to Fargo 2 weeks after that game.
College Game Day coming here?
This coming season?
September 19th, North Carolina A&T. Mark it down.
Are you calling that right now?
I'm calling it.
Wow. You think they would do that? Maybe. How's this? If they win, they got to beat Oregon.
If they beat Oregon, then slam dunk.
Yes. And I've had people ask me, if they beat Oregon, what happens?
What if it's just a really good game?
You're saying they play well and lose by 3?
Say it's 24-21 Oregon.
Okay. Maybe. I don't know. Since they got them on this past year, maybe they don't. I don't know.
Yeah, that really probably not. You're right.
But if they win, then all bets are off after that. That's why. And now, I know this list doesn't mean much of anything, but to me, I think it opens up the possibility that national TV is looking at that game more so than maybe we had thought even a couple months ago of that Bison-Oregon game. That I think somehow, some way, if it's ESPN 2,
that'd be rare.
News,
right?
Fox.
You're talking the national game, a national game.
Well,
or the.
Yeah, I'm saying a national game because that weekend is everybody's got games on. But NDSU played Iowa on ESPN2. That was a big deal. That was a big deal in the middle of the season. Now, opening weekend's tough because there's always some good games on there. But if they play at a later time slot, maybe that opens up for Fox or Fox Sports 1 or ESPN2 to come in there and say, you know what?
God, they wouldn't play 7:30 Pacific time, would they?
Imagine that's 9:30 Central.
The ultimate newspaper Central Time Zone nightmare.
I would tell you that they have no regard for you or me when they decide what time the game is played. I'm going to tell you that right now. Hell, the Pac-12 is debating about how they're playing 9 a.m. Pacific time kickoffs.
How about Big E?
They might talk to him. They might talk to E.
He is a superstar.
He is. And he's been to Eugene, so they might talk to him on that front. What do you got working on here? You're covering
basketball
and wrestling?
Got wrestling. It's senior weekend.
You got a cool story. Can you tease a little bit about that, what you're working on wrestling?
Well, Dan Stibrel is a heavyweight. He's one of these guys that he's been here 5 years. A little taste of the starting lineup from really, really small town South Dakota. Scotland, South Dakota.
Where's that?
And you said you can't find it.
You can't find it on
a
map?
I really had to look. I mean, when you look online, you have to, how you scale the mouse. And finally it comes up. It's one of those.
That's cool. So look for that from Kolpack coming up in your local newspaper, in the forum, or online at inforum.com. That'll wrap up this week's edition of the Kolpack and Izzo podcast. Thanks, everybody, for listening, and we'll see you next week.